Hey there everybody, this is Gary from Constricted and Addicted. We all have ways we can purchase our reptiles. Typically, sometimes you can go into a PetSmart or a Petco and they've got reptiles for sale. Or you can go to your local reptile store if you have one, and they usually have quite a few reptiles for sale. But there's other ways to purchase reptiles. And I used to go to Petco's years ago, and I used to go to the reptile stores. But I found that I can get a better variety and I have a better contact with the breeders. I can ask better questions and I can get more information if I went to Morph Market. So today's video is going to be about how to navigate Morph Market for the newbie. If you struggle with Morph Market or you're just kind of blown away by everything that's on there, stick around, watch this video, and we're going to do a real simple tutorial. All right, so I have Morph Market saved in my browser. It is actually right here, and I'm going to click on that. And of course, that will open up Morph Market. So if this is your first time, going through Morph Market, or maybe you've been through Morph Market before, there's a lot of information here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a snake that I'm looking for, or better yet, I've got a $300 budget. What can I get for $300? So of that $300, I need to remember that between $50 and $100 will be for shipping. So when we get to that point, I'll explain more. We could go to boa constrictors, reticulated pythons, ball pythons, bearded dragons. There are 40 different categories of reptiles to choose from on Morph Market. My favorite is always the boa constrictor. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go to the boa constrictors. Now, like I said, this is going to be a simple video. And what we're going to do is, I've got $300. What can I get for $300? Minus, let's say $50 for shipping, because that seems to be the norm with every breeder that I have dealt with on Morph Market. Is the shipping seems to be around $50. So what I like to do is I'm going to bypass all these genes and traits. This is probably going to be another video. What I'd like to do is kind of explain the front page. You have morph boas, which are your genes and traits. And if you're looking for a specific gene of a boa constrictor, you would click into one of these categories here to find the gene or mixed genes that you're looking for, whether it's for a pet or whether it's for breeding. If you're looking for a locality boa constrictor, you would come down a little farther to the subcategories where it gives you the boa constrictor imperator, the boa constrictor constrictor, the boa constrictor occidentalis, boa constrictor saboge, boa constrictor longiquata, and boa constrictor amarali. These are all the genuses, and I believe there's even more, but maybe this is all that's available right now on Morph Market. And if you break it down, here's all the regions where these localities are. So in Argentina, boa constrictor, Colombian boa constrictors, and El Salvadorian boa constrictor, Guyana, and so forth. Hog Island, Nicaragua, Pearl Islands, Sonoran, and Suriname. But like I said, we're on a budget today. So we're going to see what we can get for roughly $250. So I like to go to Browse Latest. And immediately what you're going to get pulled up here is the newest boa constrictors that have been posted on Morph Market. So if you go to right here where it says newest posted, there's a drop-down menu, and you have many different things to choose from. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to least expensive today. That way I can see what's available for the least amount of money. Now, it is important to remember that money does not dictate how beautiful a snake is, because any one of these boa constrictors can be just as beautiful as a locality boa constrictor. So it's not always about money or locality. It's about what you're after. So like we said, we've got a $250 budget. So you could scroll through here in this Sonoran for $150. I really like this, the lack of saddles that it has. So let's check that out. For $150. So shipping usually runs about $60. So you figure with that, that's $210. But that's a very beautiful boa constrictor. So let's say that this is the boa constrictor that we want to purchase. What I would do is I would read the description, and if I have any questions, let's make sure that my questions have not been answered in the description. So it looks like it was born July 5th, 2021. So that makes this animal roughly about 4 or 5 months old. 66% het leopard. That means that if you were to breed this animal, it possibly carries the leopard gene. He's been eating a thawed mouse every 7 days. So they have this animal eating frozen thawed mice. So a lot of the questions that typically I would have been answered right here in this description. So if this was an animal that I was ready to buy, the only question that I might have is, what days do you ship? Because I don't see that in there. And he says he's only shipping hub to hub. Lately, since COVID, most breeders are only shipping hub to hub. So one of the things that you will have to know is where your local FedEx hub is. And he will ship this to that FedEx hub, and usually they show up between 9 and 10 a.m. in the morning. So it's hub to hub, so you're going to have to go to FedEx to pick it up. And this is another thing, we're coming into cold weather. So he's saying that he would have to delay shipping depending on the weather. So if you're planning on purchasing from Morph Market in the October, November, December, January, February, and sometimes even in the March months, you got to be conscious of the weather, because it's not safe to ship an animal when it's 30 degrees outside or colder. No matter how many heat packs get put in there, for the safety of the animal, I would not purchase a snake and have it shipped unless the weather was probably 65 degrees or warmer. And if it's colder than that, the breeder is going to be the dictator on how this animal gets shipped, when it gets shipped, and the conditions for its shipping. So if you are ready to buy this animal, I would click Inquire to Buy. And if you have no more questions, if all of your questions have been answered in the description, the only thing I would say in here is, I am interested in buying this animal. If you'd like to see some more pictures, you could ask for more pictures. But what he would do is, depending on what kind of, what he uses for money transfer, it looks like I have to ask if you're using PayPal. So PayPal would be the way to pay for this animal. So you inquire to buy. You would say, I'm interested in buying this. My PayPal email is such and such. And then when he gets this, he will go ahead and send you an invoice through PayPal to your email address requesting the $150 plus the $60 for shipping, if in fact that's how much it costs to ship the animal. Once you have put all that information in here, you're going to check this box, because you can't do anything until you've read and agreed to the seller's policy on the SAD. And then what would happen is you would send this, it would go to the seller, they would send you the invoice for the animal, you would pay the invoice for the animal, and then you would keep dialogue, and I'll show you, between the breeder. Let's go to Toasty Exotics is the last one that I purchased. So I had to ask some questions. She responded. And then once we decided, my closest FedEx hub is in Stockton, California. She is getting shipped to Stockton, California. And then we got a little dialect going. She tells me a little bit about the snake, and that may or may not be your situation, but that tends to be the situation with most of these animals that I have purchased. If I go to living legless. This is where I got my Peruvian. I asked to see pictures of the parents, and you cannot get pictures in the chat. So what he'll do, or what the breeder will do, they will email you pictures if you want to see what the parents look like. And then again, we decided on the hub that it was going to go to. This was all done in March of this year, so I believe the weather was fairly warm. And then we keep a dialogue to make sure that if you decide next Tuesday that you are going to ship this animal, that everybody stays on the same page. And typically right up to the last minute, before, like, say 5 p.m. the previous day, I will send an email and just say, hey, we are all on the same page. Make sure his weather's good. Let him know my weather's good. And then we can go about and get that animal shipped. The wonderful thing about Morph Market is that you can get boa constrictors or constrictors, reptiles of any size. What I tend to do is I love to get the babies, and I get to raise these beautiful baby boa constrictors into full-grown adults. I get to be part of their life. They get to be part of my life. It's a very simple process. I was very intimidated by Morph Market when I first saw it and when I first heard about it. And I wasn't sure about it. You know, these people are taking your money. You're trusting that they're going to ship an animal to you and that animal is going to arrive safely at your FedEx hub. My experience through the last few years of using Morph Market as my main place to purchase boa constrictors is that I've only had one bad experience. And the bad experience is when I had an animal show up dead. The seller had put the heat pack on top of the snake, and we probably shouldn't even have shipped it. It was cold, but he went ahead and shipped it, and it had perished on its way here. The seller refunded me completely, but it was a pretty traumatic experience for me because, you know, here I am, I'm expecting to have this live animal, and when it showed up, it wasn't alive. So typically that does not happen. One of the protocols that most breeders will tell you is that when you pick the animal up, they want to see a video, they want to see photos of you opening up the box at FedEx so that they know that when that animal got there, if there's any problems with it, it's shown in the photograph or the video. So that's what we do. We go there, we pick the animal up, we open it up, we make sure that it's alive, and then we bring it home. And if you're like me, you do an unboxing video. All you've got to do is just make sure that the snake is moving, the snake is, you know, it's alive. And it really doesn't take, you know, much just to pop it open and check it out. And most of us are so excited to have a new animal in our life anyways, that's the first thing we do. So that's kind of a protocol. Make sure the animal is alive when you pick it up. Don't wait till you get home. Don't, you know, take it to the vet first. Call the breeder if there's an issue. Now I can tell you that over the last 2 years or so of buying reptiles off of Morph Market, the one incident that's taken place and that was it. Most everybody that I have had contact with, that I've interacted with, or that I've had transactions with have been very nice, very helpful, very accommodating, and have made a purchase very easy on there. So, I mean, like I said, it's not like going to the pet store and looking in the glass and seeing the animal right there and walking out with it. But this is a little bit better in my opinion. And you know, it's just because I get to look at all these different animals that I may not have the opportunity to see in the local pet store and make choices, right? So Morph Market to me is one of the best avenues, and there are other places out there, like there's Fauna Classifieds, I believe there's a couple of other ones, kingsnake.com. So there's other avenues, but Morph Market seems to be, in my opinion, again, the most organized website out there for purchasing the reptile of your choice. So if you haven't used Morph Market, check it out. Give it a shot. It's a very simple thing. And then once you're like me and you're on it for hours a day, you're sneaking peeks at it, and you start to navigate, you start to learn it, and it might even become your top choice for purchasing your next reptile. Hey, I want to thank you guys for listening, and I've gotten a lot of subscribers over the last week or so. We've had a couple of incidents happen here, and that's going to be another video coming out. We had a fire at my house. The tegus, I had a tegu outdoors, and like I said, this will be another video, but just to give everybody a real quick update, I had a tegu enclosure outside. It burned to the ground. The tegu is okay. It survived the fire, but my house got burned, and then I had a 70 or 100-gallon fish tank in my living room spring a leak, and 70 gallons of water was all over my floor. So it's been quite a rough week here, but we're getting through it one step at a time. And again, so I just want to thank everybody for checking the videos out, for liking the videos, for the comments, and of course, the new subscribers. So you guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.